Good evening, everybody. My name is Oye from Sickle Condos. So this will be the fifth video in the series of videos that I'm dropping where I'm discussing important things when living with sickle cell anemia. So for today, I want to discuss triggers. So it is very important as a sickle cell warrior to know what your triggers are or what the triggers for a sickle cell crisis are. Now, many things can trigger a sickle cell crisis. Dehydration can trigger a sickle cell crisis. Stress can trigger a sickle cell crisis. Exhaustion can trigger a sickle cell crisis. Dehydration can trigger a sickle cell crisis. Infection, malaria for those who live in malaria-prone zones. Changes to temperature, extreme heat to extreme cold, can trigger a sickle cell crisis. Even surgery can trigger a sickle cell crisis because you can go into a crisis after a major surgery because it's a trauma on the body. High altitudes, flying on high altitudes for a prolonged time because of the reduced oxygen, that can also trigger a sickle cell crisis. So many things can trigger a sickle cell crisis. Now, as a sickle cell warrior, if you know these things, you then begin to work actively to avoid them or to address them. For instance, I'll give you an example. If you live in a malaria-prone area, make sure that you have your window nets around your apartment. Make sure that you are sleeping under your mosquito nets. Make sure that from time to time you are spraying your apartment with your insecticide spray. Make sure that you also have your insecticide lotion and you can put it on you. You can have that on the go. So that's an example. If you know that dehydration is a trigger, you want to make sure that you're well hydrated at every point in time. You're taking your fluids. Stress, for instance, you want to make sure that you're not doing too much at the time. When you feel like you're getting tired, you're calling it a day, you're resting, you're taking it one day at a time. You're not overstretching yourself. Some years ago, my consultant insisted that I have oxygen on board of flight when I was traveling. Prior to that, every time I traveled, I would always have pains for the next couple of days when I land. In fact, there was one particular occasion that I landed and I had to be taken to the hospital that same day. So when the consultant said you must have oxygen, then I filled all my medical forms and I did everything. And I did have oxygen on that flight and the difference was clear. It was so good. I didn't feel any pains. I was active. I didn't feel tired. I didn't feel any weakness because I had oxygen on board. So if you know that you're going on a long haul flight, you may want to, start working towards getting oxygen on board. It's not compulsory. It is if your consultant feels that your doctor feels that it is necessary. So if you know all those triggers, you can work to make sure that you're avoiding crisis because of those triggers. For instance, infection, you cannot change everything, but you can make sure that your surroundings are clean. If you're placed on a prophylactic antibiotics because you do not have a spleen, on something like penicillin, you want to ensure that you're taking it every day, and you're taking all your supplements, you're taking all your medications, and you're taking your flu jab if you need to. You're avoiding people that have cold or the flu, so that you also don't catch cold or catch an infection that can lead to something else. So it's good for you to know those triggers and to work actively, to make sure that those triggers, if they do happen to you, they do not lead to a sickle cell crisis. So until I come your way next week with another topic, please take care of yourself. Remember to follow me on the social media platforms. I remain at Sickle Cell Convos. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. My name remains Oye. Please take care of yourself. Thank you. Bye-bye.